Hi, EMT students. Thanks for listening in this week. We're going to give you kind of a recap or a redo of what we talked about in class this week. I know sometimes it's hard to listen in the middle of the class, either at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day. And you're also in that gym where the microphone is garbled. So we're going to give you the information here, plus add some examples in here that we got from meeting with you this week. So happy listening, and we'll try to get through this quickly. So as you remember, our focus this week, we had you debrief about the note-taking process, the Cornell note-taking process. I'm going to share with you some examples of what people said. And then we're going to do a quick debrief over what you took, the SIRA that you took, assessment that you took in week 1. And then we're going to look at some examples of strategic annotating. So that's where we're at. That's what we're going to do this week. And then we'll let you know the homework as a reminder. And we're going to put all of this into an email for you so you can take a look at it. So what we asked you to do is to respond on a piece of paper about Cornell notes, how they worked for you, what was helpful, what you noticed about your comprehension. A lot of people have used this before, and in reading through what you wrote, you said that it is something that you've used in the past, so it works for you. Some of you also said it was something you were forced to do when you were younger and you've never liked it. So you've developed a system on your own. That's okay. This is really all about reflecting on what works for you and what doesn't work for you. The only thing that we can really try to stress is that you need some type of a system. Just trying to read and not do anything else isn't going to help you. So developing a system that's going to work for you, strategies, is what we're aiming for. Now, some of the things that you guys talked about that were helpful was one person said the summary and the questions on the side help to solidify the content. What a great way of putting it. Some people, or one person said the amount of reading and the topic they were able to understand better after they took those Cornell notes, even though they weren't something that they completely enjoyed. Another person said that writing page numbers on the left-hand side and snippets of what the paragraphs are about really helped. Those page numbers are key. What a great idea. And then another person talked about using that left-hand side to do terms and definitions. Again, great idea. So making things your own to stand out so that when you study is really good. Another person said the most helpful bit was the availability of space and organization, thoughts, adding diagrams while keeping it organized. A lot of you said it was hard to get used to, not something that you completely enjoyed, but again, that's okay. We want you to really think about moving forward, how you can morph this into something of your own. So great thoughts. So one of the things that we noticed in looking at what you said the week before in that SARA assessment that we had you do was that a lot of people were concerned about time management and they were stressed about that. Everybody has that problem. You are not alone. So when you are stressed about time, it decreases your effectiveness with the learning that you are doing. So you really want to try to find a way to manage your time outside of class. Don't procrastinate. Create a calendar for yourself. It's like a job. Create a calendar of specific times outside of the classroom that you are going to work on your EMT stuff. Very important. We're going to take a look at some effective strategies that people used in their strategic annotations. We're going to show you on the SARA, but also we're going to show you on some annotations that people did with their Cornell notes as well. So as we showed you in class, this is a great example. And remember, you can pause this at any time and kind of go in and look a little bit deeper as to how people took notes here. But you notice here, as we talked about this week, this person used 2 different highlighting pens. They also didn't highlight everything. The only thing we don't know is why they used different colors. It would be great to know what their key was here, right? What was the yellow for? What was the blue for? So something to keep in mind for yourself. If you are going to use different colors, why? Are vocabulary words going to be in green? Are processes going to be in yellow? Things that you know that are going to be specific questions on the test, could those be in green? So again, something to think about. Now taking it to another level, which is what we're talking about this week, is this person who used strategic annotations in the margins. Notice and you can pause this and really take a look at the notes that they took. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. The only thing that I want you to really take away from this is that this is going to help these annotations, these strategic notes that they're writing in the margins, and notice that they underlined as well as highlighted in the text, is going to help this person when, one, they go back and take notes, for example, Cornell notes, or any other note-taking devices they have, and when they go back and study. Not only for the big tests and the small exams, but also at a later date when you're studying for your national exams as well. So this is going to give you something to trigger your brain to remember instead of just a blank page with words on it or things that were just highlighted without any annotations on them. So again, we really want you to think about what's going to be best for you. So we talked a little bit last time about writing in the margins of text, key annotation, what those annotation strategies are going to look like. And we're going to talk about that this week. And I'll give you some resources for that. Remember, you got the handout that showed annotations looking like this, and the idea is that these annotations can lead you to better note taking in the future, right? So that's going to help you prepare for your exams. Now I do want to show you and you will probably need to pause and take a look at how people did some note taking, Cornell note taking in your class. So again, here we see the use of color, organization, and remember, you can pause at any time to look at these. This student, what they did was they took notes, and then they had those Cornell notes during lecture, and during lecture, when they realized they didn't have certain information or key points, they wrote that down on sticky notes and added that to their Cornell notes. What a tremendous layer to add to the note-taking and to your reading. Boy, that's just putting it all together. These are some great notes. What I love here is that we've got page numbers here. It's just reminders and circling. And then really good summary here. These are short, they're succinct, and they're to the point. I love this. Really well organized here. Good notes, really great stuff that they put on the side. Here's an example of some really great questions that were asked on the side, and then I love how this person then answered those questions on the side as well. Great use of that margin on the left-hand side. And finally, this person created this in Word. They created a template for themselves to be able to type their notes, and then they printed it, and then they took notes as well and hand wrote. So great strategies. People are making these Cornell notes their own. Remember, we're not holding you to any one particular strategy. We just want you to use something that's going to work for you. Nothing isn't going to work. Creating something will. So remember, for homework this week, you're going to watch an annotation video. It is about 8 minutes long. Please take a look at it because it gives you some really good tips and strategies for how to highlight in the margins. And this is where we really want you to focus this week. We gave you that annotation handout. We will also add it to your, if I can get a PDF of it, we'll add that also to the email so you can have it electronically as well. And so your job this week is to annotate as you're reading chapter 6. And then with those annotations, you're going to go back and do Cornell notes for chapter 6. When we come to class next week, we're going to take a look at some of your annotations. I'll take pictures again, and we're going to take a look at some of those Cornell notes. Remember, use the notes, use your textbook as you are listening to lecture. All of it goes together to give you a better picture and help you with comprehension. Remember, you've got this. Have a great one.